It was Hobbs's mailbox. There was a note hanging out. For a second, I debated the morality of mail snooping. It was a short debate, and I won. I decided to open the letter. Dear Mr. Hobbs, due to previous incidents, we are writing to inform you that we will no longer be sending models to your address. It went on to discuss Hobbs's temper and other alleged infractions, some of which still carry the death sentence in certain less sophisticated cultures. Interesting. This could come in useful. Piles of junk, mostly boxes of old paints and scraps of picture frames. Mixed in were wires, cardboard, and some dubious-looking old clothes. George Stobart.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart. I trust you have obeyed my instructions not to leave Paris.
Of course, Inspector.
Good. You clearly know which side your cookie is buttered. Now, I require your presence tomorrow at the murder scene for a reconstruction.
I see.
12 o'clock sharp, monsieur. Or, as you would say, high noon.
Sure.
Any failure to comply, and I shall have you extraordinarily rendered. Have a nice day now.
And you. That was Nave. We're required back at the gallery tomorrow for a crime scene reconstruction.
Let me guess. Non-attendance is a criminal offense?
You got it. A pile of paint, wire, and other junk. Slosha. I popped open the van's hood. Not a sound. The horn wasn't working. The engine was held together by rust and dirt. Everything was covered in a sticky film of dirty black oil. Half the wiring wasn't connected to anything. It was clear why the horn hadn't made a noise. Neither hornpipe was connected to either the battery or the cab. I had found just what I needed. 2 lengths of wire. I snipped the wire in half. The engine bay was a mess. I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. That was almost a great idea. Almost. The wire was just long enough to connect the battery to the horn. Everything was wired up. The horn had power. I figured that should get Hobbs' attention.
All right, hold your blooming horses. What are you up to with my van?
Hello there. We fixed your horn.
So I hear. Now what are you doing in my yard?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... Well, that could have gone better.
He's not exactly the friendliest of characters.
I decided to give it another blast.
For crying out loud, will you leave my van alone?
Sorry, just need a quick word, Mr. Hobbs. Afternoon, Mr. Hobbs. We're from the model agency.
About blooming time. I'm on a deadline. You better come up. About time you two showed up.
Hello, Mr. Hobbs. I was just wondering if...
Can it, Goldilocks? I don't have time for chit-chat. Just get undressed behind that screen.
Undressed?
That was the deal. An extra 20 quid because I need you with your kit off.
The studio was freezing.
And as for you, darling, no need to get undressed. I've got a vivid imagination, so I'll just use that. Either way, just go sit over there on that rug and give me your best belly pock floozy. That's perfect. Just hold it there.
Nico made for a good distraction. I just needed to figure out how to get a look inside that portfolio.
My, if it isn't George Stobart.
Lady Piermont. Oh, my. You're...
Naked? Of course. As an artist's muse, one often finds oneself en pelotas. Now, George, don't be shy. Come here and give me a big hug.
That day was the day the nightmares had begun. Trapped, smothered, choking on lavender.
George, darling, pass me my robe. It's terribly cold in here.
Oi, what are you doing with a blooming robe on? God help me, but you're supposed to be naked. I've got a deadline to meet.
Well, you won't be meeting any deadlines with manners like that. And besides, it's freezing in here.
Lady Piermont and I had met before. She was larger than life, in every way. Wow, an old Bofson Wang stereo. I hadn't seen one of those for years. Lady Piermont.
Oh, George, be a darling and sort the heating out in here.
I'll see what I can do. How about a top-up, Mr. Hobbs?
Oh, don't mind if I do.
How about another whiskey?
Thanks, but I've already got a glassful.
Excuse me, Mr. Hobbs.
Oh, what do you want? You're supposed to be sprawled naked on that rug with the family jewels out.
Yeah, well, about that. Could I just ask you a couple of questions first?
Blow me. A model who's shy and chatty. It must be my birthday.
Lady Piermont was wondering if you could turn the heating up. It's very cold in here.
Oh, is that so? Well, tell Her Majesty that the heating stays off. The wiring in this place can't take the load.
I hear you did the restoration of that painting that got stolen recently in Paris?
I might have. It's a fine piece. You can smell the paint in every brushstroke.
How about a top-up, Mr. Hobbs?
Thanks, but I've already got a glassful. Oh, you! Get down from there, it's private.
Oh, sorry.
Hey! I've told you, don't mess with that thermostat.
Sorry, but Lady Piermont is cold. I thought...
Look, pal, I know it's brass monkeys in here, but the wiring in this building is ancient, and the fuse box won't take it. Her Majesty will just have to get used to chapel hat pegs.
Lady Piermont, Mr. Hobbs won't let me turn up the heating.
Well, we'll soon see about that.
Oh, crumbs.
If you do not adjust the heating, I shall refuse to cooperate.
Lady Piermont, it's the circuits. They won't take the strain. You know what old buildings are like.
In which case, I see no reason for this session to continue.
Whoa, Lady Piermont, let's not be too hasty. I'm sure I can accommodate your needs.
Good. Perhaps you can start by letting George here turn up the heating.
Oh, go ahead then, but be careful. The power in here is temperamental.
I turned the thermostat up as far as it would go. I wondered if the suspicious wiring could be used to my advantage.
Oi, Yank! I can hear you on those stairs again. Get down!
Sorry. If I was going to take a look up there, I'd have to do something about those squeaky stairs. How about another whiskey?
That's smashing. Pour away.
I turned the volume up a few notches.
Oh, you! Get down from there. You'll trip the power in the whole building if you're not careful.
Blowing the power would certainly have distracted Hobbs, but the elevator alone wasn't going to trip the whole system. A word, if I may, Lady Piermont.
For you, George, I'm all ears. How can I help?
Lady Piermont, we need your help.
How thrilling! What do you need? Subterfuge? Legerdemain?
Actually, I just need you to step on that lift behind you.
Oh, but of course. Is this good, George, darling?
Perfect. Now, just stay right there. Now is my chance. Impressionist sketches. Well, it wasn't La Malediccio, but it did appear to be a study for an element of the painting, the Ouroboros. There was something different about the image in the center. I figured the sketch might come in handy, so I took it.
What the heck? I told you that portfolio was private.
Huh?
Well, that was fun. Just like when you were a private dick, George.
So, you're not models?
No, Mr. Hobbs.
Well, you can't be a copper. You're not stupid enough. So what the blazes are you doing in my studio?
We're investigating the theft of La Malediccio.
I told you I just restored it. That's what I do. Restore paintings.
And these sketches?
Studies done during the restoration. Nothing more. I've got naught to do with what happened after that painting left this studio. How was I to know it was going to get Henri killed?
Hang on a second. How do you know Henri's dead?
Look, he and I went back a long way. Le Lézard Bleu was on the ropes, so I got the painting into his exhibition. Nothing like this was supposed to happen.
We're not accusing you of anything, Mr. Hobbs. We just want to get to the bottom of this.
I get that, and I'll help you however I can, but this mess is way above my pay grade.
We have reason to believe that Medovsky is mixed up in the theft of La Malediccio.
Eh? What would he gain from stealing his own painting?
We have strong evidence that Medovsky is not the real owner.
You'll have a hard time proving that. Medovsky has a full set of provenances for the painting. It traces its legitimate ownership all the way back to the painter.
Why didn't Medovsky mention him?
Because they're not with him. Henri's got them. Or had them.
And Henri is dead.
So ask his partner.
Lane?
Lane, yeah, Lane. Look, pal, you're wasting your time looking for conspiracies here. And you're wasting my time if you're not actually going to get naked. Go get the provenance from Lane, and everything will turn out hunky-dory.
But it also puts Marquez's story into question.
Not my problem, darling. Now both of you, get lost. I've got a painting to finish.
And we have a critic to interrogate.
Someone's lying, but who?
Is it the gangster or the old Spaniard?
The painter or the art critic?
I need to head back for Nave's reconstruction.
What about the evidence from Medovsky's house? Will you give it to Nave?
I think I should. And I can put the squeeze on Lane. Ask him about the provenance.
Good. I've got lunch with Ronnie tomorrow. This story is hotting up, and I want to make sure he keeps me on it.
Taxi! I arrived back at the shopping arcade. Here I was again at the crime scene. Inside the gallery, I could see lots of activity. Nave preparing for the reconstruction, no doubt. Nico and I had a good idea who the killer was. Now all we had to do was persuade Nave.
Sir, I already tried starting it up. I think it's broken.
Nonsense, Moo. This machine has the power of 10 investigators.
But investigators never fail to start up, sir.
Your pessimism is duly noted, Moo. But have faith. This machine will analyze the scene, compute the data, and deduce everything for us. The location of the second shooter will be a mystery no more. One moment.
A marvel indeed, sir. Though at the moment, it is kaput.
Your pessimism has obviously infected the circuitry, Moo. Let me think for a moment.
If I could just...
Shh! Eh bien, Moo, now try realigning the laser matrix.
Sir, I have no idea what that is.
Move over, Moo. Now, let me see. Oscillating reverberator? Check. Refraction spectrometer? Check. Now, what can I do? Ah, Monsieur Stobart, it's only you. Glad you could finally make it.
Inspector, I've got some good news and some bad news.
Oh, yes? I shall be the judge of that.
I think I know who the killer is.
Really?
Yep, he's a gardener called Shears living in London.
Fascinating. And the good news?
We don't need to do your reconstruction.
You joke with me, Monsieur Stobart.
It's not a joke. This guy Shears was working for a Russian ex-mobster. It's all part of a highly complex fraud.
Gardeners, KGB, fraud. You are a fantasist, monsieur. And I have no time for fantasy. Reality is my suitcase, as you Americans say. Now, stand over there and keep out of trouble until the others arrive.
Well, who are we waiting for?
Mademoiselle Collard and Father Simeon. Please, I am very busy. Ah, Moo, a clever choice. But no cigar for you. Try the red.
Mon Dieu,